My name is Ntaruma, and today I'm going to discuss about Influence by Robert Cialdini. This book was written 35 years ago. In fact, now they are 40, if I'm not mistaken. And over the period of years, around 60 years, people have been searching for influence. What makes a person say yes? That's the meaning of the word influence. How can you influence someone to say yes to something? Now, according to Cialdini, there are 6 principles that he got out of influence. For example, principle number 1, we have reciprocation, commitment and consistency, social proof, liking, scarcity, authority. Now, these are 6 principles that trigger someone to say yes. Now, we shall discuss all these in full details. Now, let us begin with reciprocation. Now, reciprocation is the art of giving back. Whenever you give someone something, they tend to give back to you. Whenever you give a gift to someone, he tends to give back to you. That's how it is in human nature. So, let me give you one example. If a couple invites you to their party today, you tend to invite them to your party in the future. That one is an example of reciprocation. Then another example was carried out by Robert Cialdini in a restaurant. After people have taken a meal, waiters tend to give a mint. So when they were giving this mint, it was increasing. The tips that they were giving them were increasing by 2%. So when they gave a mint out of personalized and unexpected situations, the tips increased to 14%. What do I mean here? The waiter would give a mint, which is a normal mint, with a thank you, and the tip would stay at 2%. It would be a small tip. Then after some time, he would come back. He says, like, you know what, you people, you are so good, and I couldn't imagine you taking from our restaurant. You are very good people to us. Then he gives another mint. So that one increased the tip to 14%. So now I'm going to talk about commitment and consistency. What does commitment and consistency mean here, and how can we use it? For example, I'll give one example of betting. When someone is going to bet, most likely the horse betting and team betting, he tends to be unsure and uncertain. That uncertainty comes before he bets. Then after he has betted, or after he places the bet, then he becomes confident of the team winning. What does that mean? He has become committed, which has led into his consistency of saying that the team will win. Yet there is nothing that has changed to the team. They are still the same players, it is still in the same field, they still have the same experience. So, that one is an example of commitment and consistency. Another example I can give you is a billboard. There is an example that Robert Cialdini gave in this book, whereby if you go to a person with a very big billboard that you're going to pin in his compound, people tend to refuse. But if you go with a small card, that's a small note that you pin on his window shields, people tend to agree. Then after some time, after some few weeks, if you again bring now a very big billboard, people tend to agree with the very big billboard. Now, another trick is used in writing letters or statements. Whenever you write, for example, if your car is broken down, and then you write or you speak to the mechanic that I thought you were committed to do this kind of job and consistent with it, people tend to agree because they feel an obligation to them. The next principle is social proof. When people are doing the same thing, we tend to think that that thing is right, even though it is wrong. But we tend to think that they are right. Social proof. For example, if you go into a society whereby everyone goes to parties on Friday, you tend to think that it is normal for everyone to go for parties on Friday. So if somebody puts it on Saturday, you cannot attend that party, although you change the society. So that one is social proof. So what do I mean? 95% of the people are imitators, and the 5% are initiators. Then let me talk about liking. Liking has three cardinal principles underlying it, which are physical attractiveness, similarity, compliments. So liking, we tend to like people who are physically attractive to our faces, or who are physically attractive to our appeal. We tend to like them very much. So when they request for something, we tend to say yes to it. Then we go to similarity. People who have a similar background, similar opinions, or who have a similar personality, we tend to say yes to them most of the time. Then we have compliments. Whenever a person in his first two statements compliments you, you look good, you're too smart, we tend to say yes to whichever request he makes. Authority, as humans, we are structured whereby obedience, authority is right, and disobedience, it is wrong. What do I mean? We are structured in whereby since childhood we are told that when you're obedient to the authority, it's the right thing to do. When you're disobedient to the authority, it's the wrong thing to do. So also, as we see in the Bible, in the schools that we go to, in the military, according to the military, you have to be obedient to your boss or to your higher commands, and in the political systems that we follow, the hierarchy